ranked Hoyas host the Creighton Blue Jays. A lot to play at for both teams today. For Georgetown, trying to complete the historic season for the Blue Jays, trying to solidify their seed.
And it's been a resilient Creighton team all year long, coming off of an impressive victory on senior night at Morrison Field. A 2-1 victory gets them into the Big East tournament. And as for Georgetown, they clinched a share of the regular season title, a win or draw, and they win it outright.
This has been a fun series historically, as these two teams have met many times since joining the conference. Georgetown has had the upper hand of late.
Yeah, winning 3 straight, and Georgetown is on peak form right now. And this will be a huge test for Johnny Torres and the Creighton Blue Jays today if they're going to get a point at Shaw Field.
It's also a huge test to score a goal against this Georgetown team, who've only conceded once in conference play. And Tom, if the Blue Jays are going to score, it's going to be Hawkinson undoubtedly that'll be involved.
Yeah, the senior tied for the team lead with 5 goals this year, 3 of them game winners, and that's something he's done his entire career at Creighton. 7 of his 12 goals for Creighton in his career have been game winners. He's a clutch performer that produces when the lights are brightest.
On the other side of the ball for the Hoyas, it's the trio of Dodson, Achara, and Montez that have really struck fear in the hearts of opposing defenses. Montez leading the team in scoring from that central midfield position.
It's been a true breakout performance for the junior. 8 goals on the campaign, and he is one of the smoothest dribblers of the ball in all of college soccer. A dynamic attacking player that puts a lot of pressure on opposing defenses.
So a lot to play for here at Shaw Field. It's the Hoyas hosting the Blue Jays next on the Big East Digital Network. Dan Huffrich alongside Tom Greaser. And Tom, Johnny Torres and the Blue Jays coming into Washington, D.C. using the same starting lineup they did in the win over Butler over the weekend.
Yeah, it's a 4-3-2-1 formation, and it's anchored by sophomore goalkeeper Paul Cruz, who missed a big part of the season with injury, but Johnny Torres is thrilled to have the sophomore back between the pipes.
And it'll be the Hoyas home standing wearing the white with the blue shorts. And as always, some tinkering happening in the Georgetown lineup. In the back line today, it'll be Chris Lay starting, and then Paul Rothrock in the midfield getting his first start in several weeks.
Yeah, Hope Gunn still out for the Hoyas, but they haven't missed a beat defensively. Georgetown only conceding 1 goal in conference play, as there is the sophomore keeper for Creighton, Paul Cruz.
So Creighton in the all-royal blue, the homestanding Hoyas trying to cap off a historic season, Tom Greaser, as the Hoyas in first place in the conference could clinch the outright title with either a draw or a win today, and perhaps most amazingly, only conceding once in conference play.
Yeah, and that was against Providence in the second half. And Georgetown, a 9-game unbeaten streak coming into this match.
So to reset things, as we said in the opening, Georgetown, the number 1 seed in the Big East tournament, which will begin this weekend. Creighton could end up anywhere 4th, 5th, or 6th. But the Blue Jays know coming in here, their season will not end today. They will have an opportunity in the postseason.
Yeah, and Coach Torres has been so happy with how hard his team has played, losing 4 starters for the season at various points for Creighton. They found a way to qualify for the Big East tournament, and if things break their way, they could host a game at Morrison Stadium, and they are so difficult to beat in Creighton.
And Tom, while they have been excellent at home, Blue Jays have struggled on the road this year, winning only once away from the friendly confines of Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah, and to make that even a more difficult challenge for them, Georgetown perfect here at Shaw Field.
That's Dylan Nealis with the throw on the far side of Shaw Field. A resurfaced Shaw Field for the 2019 season. The field holding up very well here, as the Hoyas hope they'll be playing many matches on Shaw Field heading into the postseason. Of course, in the men's soccer tournament in the Big East Conference, unlike the women, games played at campus sites as Dotson finds the ball, shot is blocked. Rebound falls to Dotson, and then nearly to Montez. Achara pins the Blue Jays in. He'll get to the end line. Service is cleared in the first corner of the match for the Hoyas.
And Dan, that's as we take a good look at the senior Achara, but that all started because the sophomore Sean Zawatsky is really learning how to pick and choose the moments to step forward from that defensive midfield position. He won the ball in a dangerous area that created that chance for Dotson.
And there's a good look at Johnny Torres in his first season after 12 years as an assistant at his alma mater.
Well, and 4 brilliant years as a player there as well.
Rothrock, the in-swinger to the near post, easily headed away. The Hoyas continue to pin the Blue Jays in their own end. And finally the pressure relieved as the ball falls to Ronneberg. Now the dangerous Hawkinson will switch the play. Both teams comfortable on the ball in possession.
Yeah, and you think about Creighton possession, you talk about it. Johnny Torres wanted to make sure that Georgetown defends today, so he wanted to keep the ball for stretches to make Georgetown play in their own half like they're doing now. He also wanted to make sure that his Blue Jays side was opportunistic when they got chances, because it is hard to break down this Georgetown defense.
A little nutmeg there by Palat. And eventually a throw-in for the Hoyas.
And the junior Palat voted as a co-captain for Creighton this year. Similar to Georgetown is the number 9, Derek Dotson, is one of the 3 captains for the Hoyas, and it says a lot as a junior being voted as a co-captain by your teammates.
The Big East men's regular season ending today. All 5 matches here on the Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi. Both these teams winning over the weekend. The Hoyas on the road at Villanova. Creighton with an important win over Butler to set the stage for this finale.
Yeah, and it was a huge golden goal victory for Creighton that secured their spot in the Big East tournament. It was the freshman Jake Ashford getting his first career goal for Creighton that gave them that 2-1 victory.
And Tom, a name we're going to call today more than any other defender in the conference in the attack is Dylan Nealis, the preseason Defensive Player of the Year, last year's Defensive Player of the Year. No senior slump for Dylan. It's been an outstanding season.
Yeah, credited with 4 assists, has a couple of goals on the campaign, and he just puts incredible pressure. You have to game plan for Georgetown's right back, trying to figure out kind of formation-wise how you're going to rotate players and keep your shape at the same time.
Creighton building on the back. Georgetown a high line of pressure. And now there's freshman Daniel Wu, who started all but 2 matches in his freshman season. Bit of an unheralded recruit coming out of the North Carolina area. And Wu's been steady on the ball all season long. And we see Tom there, Creighton applying a bit of higher pressure. Georgetown able to deal. Now Rothrock on a dead sprint. Early ball looking for Montez. He slips though, unable to get a shot on goal. But we haven't seen a lot of teams this season pressure Georgetown like the Blue Jays just did.
Yeah, I got a sense talking to Coach Torres yesterday that there would be times that Creighton would look to pressure Georgetown. He understands as an attacking player, no one likes to be put under pressure, and Georgetown's back line can get very comfortable because teams drop so deep against them.
Wu to O'Hearn. O'Hearn versatile in the defense. He's been a wide defender most of his career. With the injury to Hope Gunn, has slid into the middle. There's Chris Lay looking for Achara. He will find it near the corner flag. The senior from Nigeria. Lay, early service. Looking for Dotson. Cruz rises above to win. And Cruz, who missed the beginning of this season, really has asserted himself as the goalkeeper for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, he's the preseason Big East goalkeeper of the year. 6'4", that is an easy save for Cruz, and we talked about it at the top of the broadcast. It is a welcome sight for Creighton soccer fans having him back in between the net.
Achara down the left. He and Montez miscommunicate. That hasn't been the case for much of the season, Tom. Achara, since rejoining the Hoya rotation midway through the year, you've seen the interchange between the trio of Montez, Dotson, and Achara build consistently.
Yeah, and for Coach Weiss, kind of that threesome up top is, a brilliant attacking formation to have. And Achar is that difference maker, that home run hitter with his pace. And Montez and Dotson and he, several years playing together, have a good understanding of the runs each other will make, where they like the ball, and they've all been finishing well this year.
Tom, we just got to look at the back of Coach Brian Weiss. His 14th season on the Hilltop. He's had some great sides. This may be the greatest. As Dotson with a turnover, he has Montez making an overlap. He'll try to find him, but it was well read there by Mitchell and cleared. Troston and Hawkinson interchange. And now it's the freshman Ronneberg conceding possession as Georgetown moves in the right side of attack. It's a very deep Georgetown team. 18, 19 players in most of the highly competitive matches this season have seen game play.
Yeah, it's for sure the deepest team Coach Weiss has had here during his tenure at Georgetown. And the guys that come in are difference makers for Georgetown. You think about, Zach Riviere at UCLA scores a hat trick. You think about the freshman sensation of Polvera and Will Sands, the NYCFC Academy players being able to come in off the bench.
Achara putting pressure on the defense. Dotson nearly freed him. And now Achara does win possession. Lay steps inside. Right-footed service looking for Rothrock. Headed away, though, by Mitchell.
And Mitchell, a highly decorated youth player. The freshman has played at the U15, 16, and 17 national team camps for the United States.
Now Polat. Out wide, sees a running leg from Budati. Budati looking for Polat, but JB Fisher intercedes. Achara telegraphed that. Georgetown fortunate that Creighton couldn't do anything, and now Achara and Dotson combine down the left side. Achara has Dotson to his left. He'll cut inside, where he'll find Jacob Montez. Montez looking for space. Great diagonal ball to Nealis. Back across the face, and Dylan wishes he would have that over again. Cruz read the service well, but you see the dynamic fluidity of Georgetown in the attack.
Yeah, it just separates the back line for Creighton. That ball, that penetrating ball for Montez, breaking down that last line. And Nealis, the angle just off a little bit from the senior. Tried to hit it first time, but too close to the goal.
So Watsky heads to Nealis. Now Rothrock steps beside Toshiro. It'll be the first free kick in the match for the Hoyas in the 11th minute.
Rothrock, of course, a transfer from Notre Dame, has been had a hugely impactful season for the Hoyas, and Coach Weiss leads the team with 7 helpers.
Lots of Notre Dame influence on this Georgetown side. Weiss, of course, coaching there. Connor Klokota, top assistant, playing there. And Tom, Georgetown, the chance to eclipse a Big East record that Notre Dame does hold, and that is the fewest goals conceded in conference play. Notre Dame shares that record with Xavier at 3, Georgetown with just 1 entering to today's match.
Yeah, it's truly remarkable defensively the season that Georgetown has had. They're second in the country in goals against, and they've been alternating goalkeepers almost every game, and the team is comfortable with both of them. Both Nicopolidis and freshman Romero have different strengths, but the team plays the exact same when either of them is in the cage. Get a quick look as Butler jumps out to an early lead over Xavier.
An important match. Both teams still alive. Only 2 teams that head into today eliminated. That's Villanova and DePaul. As Rothrock cuts inside. Sawatsky sees Lay. Lay will switch the play in between Wu and Nealis, forcing the Hoyas to reset. Scoreless here. Neither team an A-quality chance, though Georgetown with a considerable possession advantage. O'Hearn frees Achara to the corner flag. Early ball's dangerous and headed away. Falls to Montez, and the Hoyles will win their second corner. It was a dangerous ball there from Achara.
Yeah, Achara finding some space down the left side, but that's the third or fourth time already that the freshman Luke Mitchell in the center back positionally has done very well here. Dotson was lurking behind his back shoulder, but Mitchell positioned himself well.
And that tandem of Mitchell and Gibson, a lot will be asked of them today as Rothrock prepares to take Georgetown's second corner. Creighton playing man defense in the middle. Cruz punches away, and we'll do it all over again.
And that was right over Gibson. We talked about the size of Cruz, but Gibson listed at 6'4" as well. Cleans up a lot of balls in the air. And with the size that Creighton has, these balls have to be driven in if you're Rothrock.
That one is driven to the back post over everybody. That'll give Cruz and the Blue Jays a chance to slow things down here in the 14th minute of play at Shaw Field.
What a freshman year he had at Creighton last year. He ranked in the top 10 nationally with 0.6 goals against last year.
And there's been a great pipeline from Germany to Nebraska for many years. Of course, Elmer Bolovich, the Torres' predecessor in the head coaching role. A lot of experience and relationships in Germany. 12 of the 28 men on the Creighton roster international, as the program has built a reputation and a pipeline globally.
And it helps when you bring recruits in that are training in a professional environment overseas. When they come and see the facilities in Creighton, it is a world-class facility there. They upgraded the turf this year, put a cooling system in. You know, they can seat 7,500, and it's, you know, they get great turnout at their home games, and that helps when you bring these kids from overseas.
I'll tell you, if there's one place I don't need a cooling system in November and December, it's Nebraska. Lay with possession to Fisher. Sees a diagonal run from Nealis. Right into his path, chest down confidently. Nealis tries to turn the corner, and he'll be whistled for a foul. As a sturdy piece of defending there from Yudai Tashiro.
Yeah, Tashiro just positions himself right in front of Nealis, and Nealis tried the swim move there, and sometimes you get away with that, but the senior commits the foul.
But that was a real glimpse of the passing patterns that Georgetown likes to use. Those central players always looking for that diagonal, and Nealis so often creeping forward.
And it's what we talked about. It's so challenging for Creighton to stay compact, but then also be able to deal with the width that Nealis puts you under and the pressure he puts you under by staying so wide.
Here's Fisher under some pressure from Hawkinson. Nearly a turnover.
Man, and you can see Creighton's game plan. They are trying to press Georgetown more than we've seen and more than Georgetown's been accustomed to at this point.
And Tom, I think it's also on particular players. When Fisher received the ball, the pressure higher.
Yeah, and really in the two center backs as well. With Wu and O'Hearn, they tried to press them early as well.
Gibson wins the header over Dotson. And Hawkinson heads out of play. Luke Hawkinson leading the team in scoring. O'Hearn pings a ball to Nealis. He'll keep it in play.
Matchup between Georgetown and Creighton has become somewhat of a tradition on the last match day in conference for the Big East. 5 consecutive years these two teams have met on the last match day, and some of them were for all the marbles.
Good ball from Hawkinson. Now it's Budati free on the right. Achara in a defensive role. Polak cuts inside. Creighton maintaining possession. Hawkinson has some space. The dangerous attacker. Georgetown in a rare moment. 10 behind the ball. Great run by Budati. He's free. And a flashing save by Nicopolitis on the service, but there you see some positivity in the attack from Creighton.
Yeah, and Budati putting pressure in the right back role for Creighton, putting pressure on Georgetown's left side of the defense. Achara forced to defend, and Budati gets to the end line. The first real challenge for Nicopolitis.
Trostin causing trouble for Nealis, and Nealis whistled for the foul as Creighton, I think, executing the Torres blueprint here in the 18th minute, right according to plan.
Yeah, it allows the big center back, Bryce Gibson, to come forward. Huge target player on these restarts. Tashiro will take this one. He is a free kick expert. He's scored 3 or 4 goals directly off of free kicks. This one's certainly wide, but Creighton has some big targets. Dotson gets the assignment on Gibson.
Tashiro, 5 goals, 3 assists. He'll clip one into a dangerous area and cleared by J.B. Fisher. And then harmlessly hit wide by Polat. But you see the quality from the right foot of Tashiro.
Yeah, and it's a good touch by Fisher because Ronenberg was directly behind him at the back post. And that ball was hit in the spot that forces Nicopolitis to make a decision. And sometimes this year we've seen him aggressively off of his line there. He stays at home, allows the players in front of him to deal with the service.
Giannis Nicopolitis, part of the platoon this year in the goal for Georgetown. And psychologically sometimes difficult for teams to deal with it. The Hoyas have sort of, it's been fuel for them with both goalkeepers, Romero and Nicopolitis, having outstanding seasons.
Yeah, when you only give up 5 goals in the entire season and you play the schedule that Georgetown has played, it is a remarkable team effort. And both keepers, to their credit, they've bought into it. They haven't sulked. Both of them obviously want to play more, but they're driving each other as well, making each other better. And when called upon, they've made some big saves. Romero this past weekend against Villanova had to come up, make some big saves. We've seen Nicopolitis save a penalty kick earlier this year.
And Tom, as a show of Georgetown's dominance, 35 goals for, 5 against on the season.
It's hard to imagine how good that is.
Nealis, poor service again from the senior, and it'll be a goal kick as Brian Weiss going to the bench earlier than usual here, Thomas. I think the tempo not what Coach Weiss wants right now.
Yeah, and Dan, we've talked about it during the year. These midweek games at home have a tendency to be difficult ones as Fisher comes off, as does Rothrock. And you're right. The tempo isn't there. The sharpness isn't there. Creighton is applying more pressure in the midfield. And Georgetown has to be a little bit quicker, getting rid of the ball, and sharper on the ball to break that pressure down.
Chara wins the header off Hawkinson's back, and so a Georgetown throw, and it's Chris Lay into the chest of Dodson. Smooth junior striker finds Zawadzki, and the Hoyas patiently possessing. Creighton really applying high pressure all around the field right now.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that all 10 field players have to be on the same page. It can't be one guy chasing at a time, and Creighton's done a good job as Dotson frees Riviere.
And Riviere is offsides, but all the credit to Georgetown. Despite that pressure, Georgetown stringing 15, 20 passes together. And as you see here, Riviere just didn't hold his run, and Gibson and Mitchell doing a good job of keeping the high line.
Yeah, good discipline, that back line, as that was a great crafty ball by Derek Dotson, freeing Riviere about a yard offsides.
Lay finds Pulvera for his first touch. Freshman who announced his arrival on the college soccer scene in weekend one with a thunderous strike from 35 yards. Quieted a bit, but a effective campaign for the freshman. Dotson wide to Nealis. Nealis against Toshiro. He'll get by him. Nealis clips a dangerous ball just wide. Achara actually slowed his run.
Yeah, that was more of a clip from Nealis there. I think he actually might have been trying to shoot that one to the far post, just looking for a deflection. He was definitely shooting that one. There you can see the pressure that Dylan Nealis puts on defenses, the ability to go at people one-on-one, something special.
Pulvera against Polat. Now it's Wu. Overlap from Riviere. It's a great ball from Nealis to find him. Dotson wants it. Instead, Riviere cuts inside. And Mitchell and the Blue Jays able to deal with it. And I think Dotson frustrated with his sophomore teammate there.
Yeah, Riviere elected to keep the head down instead of trying to play that one back across the box.
Lay a great reverse ball to Dotson, top of the box. He finds Riviere. Left-footed shot is deflected in the third corner in the 23rd minute here for the Hoyas. And again, that diagonal ball, Tom, from the wide defenders, that time with Lay, causing Creighton some problems.
And as has been the case all year, when Coach Weiss goes to the bench, the players come in and are impactful right away. Riviere has been around the ball immediately since entering this contest, and he has changed the tempo of this game.
Montez. Looping ball to the back post. Headed across the face and in! And the Hoyas open the scoring as Cruz got caught in no man's land.
Yeah, and I think Creighton is a little disappointed, almost that Cruz got screened as he was going to the back post. It looks like he ran into a wall, and he did. He kind of collided with Dotson. And that was O'Hearn getting on the back post with his first career goal.
We'll have to look at the replay again to see if Achara actually knotted that one in. And if we can see that replay again, it will be interesting. But O'Hearn getting to the back post, he held his run, headed across the face. Achara made sure it got to the back of the net. And Montez will get credited, regardless of the goal score, with his second assist of the season.
And I think it is the correct no call. There was certainly contact, but Derek Dotson didn't initiate it. He was just standing in space, and Cruz is backing up, runs into Dotson.
And the Hoyas take advantage.
But what's so difficult to do for Sean O'Hearn is expecting that ball to get through, because with the size of Cruz and seeing him come off of his line and take those balls in the air, O'Hearn got to that back post and expected the ball. He wasn't surprised when the ball got to him. Too many times you see players at the back post surprised that the ball comes all the way through to them. Real credit to the junior Sean O'Hearn.
Now O'Hearn freeing Montez. This is one thing Georgetown's done all year after goals. Waves of attack continue. Achara and Pulvera battle for it. Ball squirts to Zawadzki, and now Riviere turns 30 yards from goal. It's Dylan Nealis. Nealis, looping ball, looking for Dotson. Nearly falls to Achara. But Budati and the Blue Jays able to counter. Double scissor there from Hawkinson. And offside whistled on Angle King. Check a look at this goal one more time. I think it's Achara that's going to get credit for that goal.
And taking away the first career goal from O'Hearn. O'Hearn celebrating like it was his.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty definitive replay. It will be Achara scoring his 5th of the year from O'Hearn and Montez.
I thought I heard me say 4.
The official scores, reviewing it. Good turn there from Montez. Play on, says the referee. It's a good tackle there from Creighton, but that time the foul whistled on Hawkinson. Now Nealis. So Watsky's pass hitting the official, but the Hoyas maintain possession. 1-0 on Achara's 5th of the year. Here's Wu. And O'Hearn, an ambitious ball cut out there by Cruz. So the Hoyas with the advantage of possession
assisted by Sean O'Hearn and Jacob.
And the advantage on the scoreboard, 1-0. Here's Ronneberg, now wide to Espeleta. Espeleta cuts inside, collision with Achara. And Achara gets the worst of that collision. Now it's Toshiro. And Nealis whistled with a foul, did not like the call, and Creighton's going to have a chance to get their dangerous senior Toshiro from Tokyo, Japan on the ball for the second restart in the Georgetown attacking third.
And it's another dangerous spot for Creighton, and you've talked about the possession advantage that Georgetown has had, but conceding free kicks in the attacking third, what a great way for Creighton to get back into this contest. Certainly a man on the ball who has incredible quality on restarts.
Toshiro with the right foot, in-swinger. Nicopolitis keeps it in play, and Toshiro wishes he could have that one back.
Yeah, that wasn't the best effort from the senior. Think about that first ball that he hit in. Such a dangerous ball, forcing Nicopolitis to make a decision.
Polvera looking for Achara, put right into his path. Now Espeleta helping Budati. A good bit of team defending there. Allows Angle King and the Blue Jays to attack. Angle King warded off by the burly Polvera.
Yeah, Polvera with great size. Dotson looking to get in behind.
Dotson onside. Runners include Montez and Riviere on his preferred right foot. Falls to Achara, drive is blocked. And Mitchell or Budati able to block that. I think it was Budati, as Achara's effort no doubt would have tested Cruz.
Yeah, opportunistic from Achara, jumping on that bouncing ball.
Good first touch from Espeleta.
I tell you, Espeleta covers a lot of ground for Creighton.
Angle King with it against O'Hearn. Tries to nutmeg, but the covering defender, Lay, read it well. And Georgetown able to clear. O'Hearn keeps it in play with Achara. The two-man game there, and then a foul whistled as Hawkinson takes down Achara right in front of the Georgetown bench.
Nice gold boots from the senior Achara to match his captain armband. He has battled injuries. That is a hard challenge. He has battled injuries throughout his career. And that knock will cause Achara to watch the rest of the first half from the bench.
Brian Weiss on the staff will turn to Will Sands. A good look at the freshman. Sands out of the NYCFC Academy. His brother, James, a first-team player for NYCFC. Of course, MLS Cup coming this weekend. Unexpected final between the Sounders and Toronto FC. NYCFC, the #1 seed, falls as Polvero, another NYCFC product, tries to find Riviere.
Yeah, Dan, and during all that, Johnny Torres went to his bench and brings in the reigning freshman player of the week, Jake Ashford, who scored that golden goal for Creighton in their victory over Butler.
Ashford, the freshman from Shawnee, Kansas. One of 2 Kansans on the Creighton roster. Here he is. Ball hits his heel, allowing Wu to keep possession. And if there was ever the definition of a pass-first center back who wants to keep possession, the freshman Daniel Wu for the Hoyas is fitting that description to a T.
Yeah, we've commented on it since day one, how smooth and comfortable he is on the ball. Looks like the game is slow for him. Even if you're applying pressure, it's simple. It's 1 and 2 touch. He stays kind of within the realm of his technical ability and keeps possession at a very high clip.
More substitutions coming from the Blue Jays. Johnny Torres looks to Cameron Briggs, another member of this gigantic freshman class. It's an interesting roster composition. It's 85% seniors and freshmen. The sophomore and junior class is very small for Torres and the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and you would think about as a new head coach, even though he's been at Creighton for 12 years as an assistant, trying to bring in players that fit his vision. And Cameron Briggs, of course, his twin brother also on the roster, Dominic.
The dangerous Sands to the end line.
Blue Jays number 17, Keegan
He'll
Boyd,
pull back.
number 27, Jake.
And now he'll have another go. The double team coming from Espeleta. And on the scouting report, the Blue Jays know Sands likes to go at people with speed, so holding the ground there and doing a good job defending.
Yeah, and Polat there, the junior captain, working hard, as has Espeleta throughout this match, coming back, defending well as a team. Of course, the only goal they conceded was off of that corner kick, but Creighton has kept good shape and has applied more pressure than we've seen over the last month this Georgetown team facing.
And a foul there on the push in the back by Ashford. Whistled by our referee, Carmen Serbio, today. Gorgeous afternoon at Shaw Field. Dan Helfrich and Tom Greaser, thrilled to be with you on the Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi in the final regular season matchup. Stay with us at halftime. 2 great features from the Big East Conference as we enter the postseason environment in all the fall sports in the conference.
And we see a look at some of the upcoming matches later on today. That is a huge match for Marquette, trying to figure out how to get some points, get into that Big East tournament.
Number 28, Joe DeLuz, replacing number 23.
Here's Polvera. Early ball to Beer. He's onside, but Cruz off his line well.
And you're seeing why Cruz was the preseason goalkeeper of the year, has complete command of his box. Great size, does well with balls in the air, but they are just reading the game. That last defender for Creighton comes up and thwarts the attack.
DeLuz with it. The substitute just came on for Lay at the left back position. Now Toshiro starting the Creighton attack. And the ball finds Briggs. Nealis reads that and easily intercepts. But Jack Beer unable to hold possession, allowing Toshiro, who's come to a more central position now as Briggs moved to the left back position. Now Budati trying to look for Trostin. He and DeLuz battle. And DeLuz will concede a throw. That's a good look there at Keegan Boyd. Boyd, a sophomore from the state of Washington. An exciting battle elsewhere on the Big East Digital Network as Xavier on Samson Sergey's goal tie up the Butler Bulldogs in a meaningful game for both sides.
And Sergei, the senior from this greater Washington, D.C. area, having a great year for Xavier.
Here's Lochner, the grad student for Georgetown, out wide to Nealis. Mitchell retrieves the errant pass, and then some friendly fire at Cruz, who deals with it well.
Mitchell just wanted to make sure sophomore goalkeeper was sharp. Cruz is saying, I've seen enough of the ball today already. Don't have to play me in like that.
Udati intercepts the Deleuze ball. And Tom, Deleuze, a seldom used player, can play on the left side, either in the midfield or the back. And, you know, with the loss of Hope Gund, as a turnover from Creighton, it's Sands. Sands trying to find Riviere. Cruz off his line. Riviere's shot is blocked by Mitchell, who's done it again.
I tell you, Mitchell has been an impressive center back, the freshman there. Is Sands a crafty ball. Riviere gets to it first, and Cruz started to come and realized he wasn't going to get there. But it's the freshman Luke Mitchell, who's recently played at Atlanta United. We talked about his national team experience and just a great understanding of that center back position.
The junior substitute Beer to take the corner. It's going to be a short one. Lochner a back heel, and that executed undoubtedly better on the training ground than right there.
It was set up perfectly as well, as Creighton didn't send another defender, and Lochner didn't really need the heel, just needed to kind of roll it with the sole of his foot there to free Beer.
Another turnover by the Blue Jays. Sands wins it. Warded off by Polat. Sands wanted a foul, none forthcoming. And then Hawkinson can't believe that the advantage wasn't played there.
Yeah, and some frustration from Zawadzki, thinking that Georgetown was fouled before that, and Zawadzki was caught up the field there, had to come back and did commit a foul, and I think Hawkinson is correct. Yeah, Sands just gets, Polat just kind of knocks the freshman to the ground, and as Creighton plays out of this, Hawkinson with great strength to get away, his good feet from Hawkinson as well, to get away from Zawadzki, and I think Creighton said, we want the advantage on that.
Now Nealis countering, cutting people up. Dylan Nealis on an exploratory expedition up the Shaw Field spine. Now Wu. O'Hearn, whose header on the back post led to Georgetown's goal, credited to us. Chara, and then a terrible foul from behind by Toshiro as Riviere fouled, and immediately the caution issued.
Yeah, and Riviere gets chopped down here from Toshiro, and that is a dangerous cleats up foul. The senior for Creighton, we've talked about, so good on restarts, and that is a dangerous challenge.
And Riviere fortunate that his foot didn't get caught up in the turf there. So Udai Toshiro.
Udai Toshiro.
Toshiro, all sorts of experience at the junior college, winning back-to-back national championships. And in his second year here at Creighton, tied for the team lead in goals with Hawkinson.
Riviere trying to find Sands, but read by Gibson. Georgetown throw here in the 40th minute. Achar's 5th of the year, the difference. Polvera with a chance. Back post, great ball, flashing header by Beer over. It's a terrific in-swinging ball there by Dante Polvera, the freshman.
Yeah, I know he's going to be a difficult chance for Beer, kind of running away from it, trying to head it back towards goal. It's a good effort, but you're going to have something sensational to beat Cruz from that distance and that angle.
And Tom, Georgetown, one of the top teams in the country in shots attempted per game, added again today, the 9-2 advantage.
Yeah, we've talked about defensively how stout they've been all year, but they are creating chances galore.
The active Riviere, combination play with Beer, but good defending from Toshiro. Nicopolitis, who's been quiet today. Georgetown did not concede in the month of October. Last time the Hoyas were scored upon, the only time the Hoyas have been scored upon in conference play, right here at Shaw Field in the second half versus Providence. And the Friars, a terrific end to the Big East season as they earn the 3rd seed. Here's Sands, out-battled by Gibson.
Yeah, the Friars have had a really good year. Sands holding his ankle.
Yeah, it was an awkward challenge there as Gibson won the ball, and then the follow-through hit Sands, whose leg was exposed there.
And good to see the freshman up and walking it off.
Sands looking for Zawadzki, but Budati steps in. Gibson putting Mitchell under some pressure, but the possession calm from the Blue Jays. Let's Trostin with it. Now Hawkinson out wide to the substitute, Keegan Boyd. Overlap from Budati, he'll get it. Hawkinson at the end line. He'll keep it in play. Now Budati to serve. Looping ball, and Trostin could not disguise the push into the back of Daniel Wu, but Creighton some good possession.
Yeah, and it started with Trostin at the far side, and Creighton gets the ball all the way over to the right side where Budati has been dangerous for the Blue Jays coming up from that outside back position.
43rd minute at Shaw Field. Georgetown continues to lead 1-0.
It's that possession that Coach Torres was asking for at the start of the game. He knew they would have to have spells where they forced Georgetown to defend.
And a foul whistled as Gibson and Beer tangled. Jack Beer, who took last season off after a impressive freshman campaign, has come back with renewed energy and focus, been an important cog off the bench for Georgetown all season long.
He refound the love of the game, stepping away for a full year, and it's really a remarkable story.
Nealis misconnects with the header. Loose ball falls to Lochner. And then Polat doing a lot of that hard work in the middle.
Yeah, you can see why his teammates voted him as a co-captain, hard worker, engine in the center of the park for this Creighton side.
To lose, good first touch. Ball falls to Riviere. Trips over the ball.
1 minute.
And with a minute remaining,
First half.
Ashford concedes possession. Jack Beer making a run. Sands doesn't see him, but he'll cut inside and find Lochner. Beer, 30 yards from goal. Combination with Riviere. Mitchell forces him backwards. Hoy is patient here at the edge of the attacking third. Now Nealis will cut inside. It's Deleuze. Runners in the box. Clip to the back post. Headed across the face. Riviere flicks on, and I think Zawadzki wanted that one to be left.
Yeah, Zawadzki has to be calling off Riviere on that one. Zawadzki left unmarked here on a late run. You can see the number 6. Communication just breaks down for Georgetown.
But that will be the last moment of the first half as Brian Weiss and the Hoyas take some notes and head into the locker room with the 1-0 lead. Stay with us for some features here on the Big East Digital Network. It's a Chara's 5th, having the Hoyas up 1-0.
women's soccer team plays in the Big East Tournament semifinals tomorrow against Providence.
40th anniversary of the Big East Conference. A couple great features here at halftime. Stay with us on the Big East Digital Network presented by SoFi.
The Georgetown volleyball team returns on Friday as they take on Providence at 5 p.m. in McDonough.
A couple of years, and in recent years in particular, has been a growing interest in seeing our industry become a more diverse and inclusive place.
I find it important for us to amplify the voices of those who have not traditionally had a seat at the table. As a Black African woman, my various social identities are always at the forefront of my daily interactions, from my first name, my culture, to where I'm from. So for me, diversity is about us celebrating our uniqueness as a society.
A lot of what happens in terms of diversifying workforce in the college world happens at the campus level. That's really where the core hiring takes place. The schools are responsible for hiring their directors of athletics, their staffs, their coaches. And so the conference is really a step away from that activity, but I think conferences can and should set a tone. And so in the Big East, we have tried to make diversity and inclusion a conference strategic priority. We have, for example, within our conference SAC group, designated a diversity and inclusion officer. D&I has become an important topic of discussion at SAC meetings. And our D&I officer is now included into the conference-wide diversity and inclusion working group that we've created.
I currently serve as the conference's Student Athlete Advisory Committee's Diversity and Inclusion Officer. This position is charged with ensuring that the conference carries out its commitment to inclusion for all. And I assist the conference staff in creating opportunities for student athletes from different backgrounds to come together to share and exchange ideas. I also work closely with the Big East Diversity and Inclusion Working Group.
You know, when I think about diversity, I think about the fact that diversity is a fact. When we think about inclusion, we think about inclusion being a choice. And I think if we can succeed in anything at the Big East is to impress upon everyone how inclusion isn't just a choice but a responsibility.
The Big East is committed to continuing the development of programs and initiatives that support diverse and inclusive environments for our student athletes, coaches, staff, and communities.
When my time came to stop coaching, I was very fortunate that I didn't have to go cold turkey. I was able to start the Big East Conference, and we came across the sky like a meteor.
One recruiting year that they had that really turned everything around was the Ewan Mullen Pinckney recruiting year. It changed the face of Eastern basketball probably forever.
We just believed in ourselves, and a lot of hard work on everybody's part.
Every March, Madison Square Garden is home to everything that is college basketball.
Put on your red shoes and dance the blues.
What? How's the weather? Yeah. It's snowing out. It's a blizzard, but we ain't gonna stop.
Rightly, there were questions early on about whether the Big East could withstand the test of reconfiguration, and I think if you were here, we've done that and more.
It's a monster league now. Last man standing, bring the flag. Tough to coach in, but great for spectators and great to play in. The March of the Big East goes on.
You have 4 years to help you figure out the meaning of life.
The Georgetown Hoyas lead the Creighton Blue Jays 1-0. And Tom, the Hoyas with the territorial advantage through most of the first half.
And like they've done almost all year, Georgetown, 10 shots in the first half. I can't remember another team that would average almost 20 shots a game, and this Georgetown team just comes at you in waves.
And Tom, the one goal of the first half scored by Achara, or was it O'Hearn? And they'll be looking at the video for that, no doubt. And as we head into the last week of the season, the players of the week, and Carlton McKenzie, a huge goal leading the Pirates to the win over the weekend.
Yeah, it keeps them in contention for a Big East tournament berth. And then Kawazami, the sophomore defender for Providence, they've solidified that third seed in the Big East, and they will host a first-round matchup in the tournament.
And then one of the players here today, the freshman of the week, the biggest goal of the season for Blue Jays, it was off the foot of Jake Ashford.
Yeah, he scored that golden goal that got Creighton into the Big East tournament on senior night. And then, of course, for Georgetown in that platoon-in goal, it was the freshman Romero with 5 shutouts on the year, 4 saves against Villanova. Just been a great season for the freshman Romero.
And other players honored include a couple players of the reserve for Creighton, Bryce Gibson, Zawadzki, the stalwart, number 6 for the Hoyas, and then Samson Sergai, who's scored already today in the big battle between Xavier and the Butler Bulldogs. So we'll be back with action soon, but first let's look at some postseason upcoming battles in the Big East Conference starting this weekend in Omaha.
We talked about the cooling system in the field. You didn't want to need it. You're not going to need it for the women's championship, but a great surface out there in Creighton.
Indeed, and the field hockey, they'll be moving to Connecticut.
Might need the field warmers up there.
Quinnipiac, the host of the Big East Field Hockey Tournament. And then finally, Tom, one of your favorite sports, volleyball, played up at the Al McGuire Center, named, of course, after the late great basketball coach of Marquette.
Gotta love the locations of those Big East tournaments. Nebraska, Wisconsin, and Connecticut.
We'll be back here in Washington, D.C. for second half action. We'll see if Johnny Torres and the Blue Jays can mount a comeback. The Hoyas lead 1-0. Back on a gorgeous fall day, Dan Helverton, Tom Greaser at Shaw Field. The Hoyas lead the visiting Creighton Blue Jays 1-0. And Tom, the postseason starting now. It's a jumbled set of conditions today. We'll know by 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern time tonight what the bracket will look like.
Yeah, we do know Georgetown will be the #1 seed. That means as long as they win, they get to host the championship match. St. John's in the 2 seed, Providence is in the 3. Creighton can be anywhere from the 4 to 6. A lot of moving parts on last match day of Big East soccer.
And if we look at the overall standings in the more traditional format now, the Hoyas and Red Storm have been at the top all season long, but there you see that jumbled mass in the middle from 4 through 8.
And, of course, Butler and Xavier, last report we got, tied at 1. Marquette needs a victory and potentially some help to get into the tournament. And it's only DePaul and Villanova with really nothing to play for on this last match day.
And let's take a look, Tom, at the one goal of the match. We've looked at it several times. It's a Montez terrific service to the back post. O'Hearn rises, and the ball comes across the face.
Does Achara get a touch on that or not? O'Hearn celebrated like it was his goal. Regardless, it's a goal for the Hoyas, and Creighton finds themselves with a pretty big task here in the second half.
So Johnny Torres and the Blue Jays perhaps making some tactical adjustments at the half. They've made some personnel adjustments. Several of the reserves, including Boyd and Ashford, are going to start the second half for Creighton. Meanwhile, the Hoyas, as always, with Coach Brian Weiss, going to mix up the lineup heading into the second half as some of their reserves, including Jack Beer, Dante Polvera, in the match to start the second half.
Yeah, and it's the rare occurrence where both Beer and Montez are playing together. Both of them play in that kind of 10 role, the role that kind of has a lot of freedom in this Georgetown attack. It'll be interesting to see how the two of them play off of one another.
Here's Toshiro playing on a yellow card, the only yellow card issued in the first half. There's Briggs finding Hawkinson. Good dangerous ball to Ashford. He's behind Wu. O'Hearn comes over. Ashford keeps it in play, and the ball falls to Nicopolidis. And Creighton with their most dangerous opportunity just 45 seconds into the second half.
Yeah, it's that freshman of the week, Ashford, getting to the end line, and Chris Lay comes over with a bad clearance, almost missed the ball. He did get a touch, fortunately, because Keegan Boyd was right behind him on the doorstep. And a bright start in the second half for Creighton.
It was two of the substitutes. It was Ashford, and it was Cameron Briggs, who we recognize as being on the honor roll, who started that with a good outside of the right foot ball. Here is Briggs, pressured by Beer. Briggs very comfortable on the ball, playing in that left back position. Now Mitchell and Boyd combine. Briggs with a head of steam, and Zawadzki tackles away right by the fourth official.
And Zawadzki, he covers all sorts of ground in that defensive midfield position. This is good skill breaking out of the back for Creighton.
Wu with it. Now Beer. Beer cutting inside. Does find Montez. Montez with a head of steam off the dribble. Into Dotson. Dotson's onside. Dotson shot saved by Cruz. Rebound falls to Dotson. Now Achara. Right footed shot over. And Derek Dotson would love to have that one over again, Tom Greaser, as he didn't hit it cleanly.
He didn't, but it was Montez dancing through Creighton. Dotson timed his run well and really almost topped that one there. And the big goalkeeper for Creighton comes up with a save, and after that, Achara couldn't keep the rebound on frame.
And it's really the first time we've seen what we highlighted in the opening of the broadcast. That's Montez running at the teeth of the defense with speed.
Yeah, Creighton's done a good job defensively, taking away those pockets of space that Montez has been exploiting all season long.
But it only takes one moment, and Montez nearly had his second assist of the match.
Montez is that rare player when the ball's on his foot. He accelerates away from defenders, is almost faster with the ball than he is without it.
Mitchell and Gibson combine. Budati and Palat. Good rhythm from Creighton, but then an errant ball allows Beer and the Hoyas to possess. And it will be a throw-in. And you could hear Brian Weiss there audibly telling the defenders, even though we're under a little bit of pressure, let's keep the ball. As Wu that time was the one who sprung a long ball down the right side.
Yeah, you think about many contests this year, Georgetown not put under pressure, but as we get into postseason play and the competition ramps up and the pressure builds, Georgetown will be faced with opponents that will put them under pressure, force them to be sharp, play quickly in and out of tight spots.
There's a good look at Chris Lay. Lay, the junior from York, Pennsylvania. Montez finds Achara. Achara's behind the defense, across the face, and can't connect with Beer. And then Nealis trips over the ball. And that was Achara at full speed.
But in the first 5 minutes, that's the second time that Montez runs at speed and plays a great ball in behind the defense, and Achara back across the goal mouth. Beer a step too late getting there.
Clearance into the chest of Montez, now Palat for Creighton. Nothing doing. Georgetown maintains possession. It's the freshman Polvera. Now Lay. Polvera checks his shoulders. Token pressure from Ashford, and so the Hoyas will reset. Wu, a good ball. Nealis now. This is one of those sustained bits of possession we often see from the Hoyas a couple times a game, where nearly every player touches it. Now Ashford can't get by O'Hearn, and Georgetown will reset again. Montez. Wide to Beer. Nealis going to try to track down the errant ball. Instead, Briggs will get to it first. And a corner.
And I think Coach Torres will be frustrated with that sequence because Chris Lay gave the ball away unforced, and Creighton, instead of keeping possession, and that was one of the keys we highlighted at the top of the broadcast, Creighton doesn't even connect one pass and allows Georgetown to get back in the attack and ultimately wins the corner that Jack Beer will serve in.
It's the sixth corner of the match for Georgetown. Creighton yet to register one. In the early play again, short. It's Beer across the face looking for Achara's head. Falls to Lay. Back to Achara. Creighton able to clear. Georgetown more short corners in this match than we've seen all season long as Achara near the corner flag. Tries to take on Budati. But Creighton deals with it well. As O'Hearn and Georgetown reset near midfield. Woo, a dangerous ball into the path of Nealis. And the Hoyas with their seventh corner. And that's certainly part of the Georgetown attacking game plan. When your center back has time to look up and hit a long ball, Nealis on a dead sprint.
Yeah, and good athleticism there from the freshman Cameron Briggs, but unfortunately does concede another corner kick. So ultimately a corner kick in the first half that Georgetown scored, the lone goal of this contest.
Beer clips this one in, looking for Achara's head. Flick ends up with Polvera, an athletic attempt. Kind of caught it on the half bounce and over the goal.
Yeah, this is a great effort from Polvera. Ultimately, probably a half step too close to that ball, right, as that ball kind of bounced a little bit higher, trying to time up his steps. But we've seen him unleash some absolute rockets this year.
Dotson lays off to Montez. The trio of Dotson, Achara, and Montez have been very active in the second half. Slip to Beer. Back to Achara. And cleared by Mitchell. And there you see all four of the Georgetown attackers combining.
Yeah, we've seen the Montez, Dotson, Achara all year, but now Beer kind of makes it a quartet there, and all four of them get involved in very unselfish play. And Montez has been around the ball in the first 9 minutes of this second half more than he was the entire first half.
It's Beer again to clip, this time near post. Wu, flashing header, cleared off the line. And Daniel Wu nearly his first career goal.
And Wu, one of the great targets that Georgetown has, and a glancing header at the near post. And that was the freshman Briggs clearing that one off of the line. Well done from the substitute.
And I've been wanting to say it all day long, Tom. Briggs from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin.
He and his brother, both good basketball players growing up in Wisconsin as well. Yet to see his twin brother Dominic.
Here's Montez, now Dotson. Wisconsin and Marquette University, the site of the Big East Women's Volleyball Championships coming up later this month. So the Hoyas, waves of pressure in the first 10 minutes of the second half, but the score remains 1-0. Georgetown's goal off a corner sequence in the first half. The video inconclusive, and so it'll probably be the investigative reporter honor system after the game to see if Achara did get a touch on that.
I'll tell you, Achara celebrates with the best of them, so you can really just look at how he acted after the goal went in.
Now Briggs and Mitchell, two freshmen, and I'm sure Torres viewing both as part of a sturdy foundation for the next 4 years in Omaha.
Yeah, we talked about that huge freshman class that Johnny Torres has. Some of those freshmen kind of forced into action because of the injuries. 3 seniors out for the year. And a talented freshman, Auguste from Canada, got hurt midway through the year, and he's done for the season as well.
As you see in the corner of our screen, Achara slow to get up after that challenge. And that's the look of someone.
Tough collision towards the midsection, maybe a Charlie horse.
So Achara walking off that midsection blow. Creighton will do the polite thing and restart play with a throw-in.
Dan, for me, early in the second half, 2 real differences than the first half. It's been this man Montez finding the ball in pockets of space, but more importantly, it has been Creighton hasn't been as compact defensively.
Good ball, first time off the interception by Lay. Georgetown attacking again, but Budati gets in the way of that counter, and now Ashford moving to the corner flag. Joined by Budati, the dangerous right back into a pocket of space. Espeleta leaves for Ashford. Good tackle by Wu. And then Zawadzki clears. But some sustained pressure from Creighton.
And you can see the quality of this Creighton side. They've had a couple of pockets of time where they've kept possession and put Georgetown under pressure.
And here in the 58th minute, it'll be the first corner of the match for Creighton, giving target players, including Gibson, a chance to move forward. Bryce Gibson, that senior 6'5" target from Lee's Summit, Missouri, out of the Sporting KC Academy system.
And this is how Creighton scored that golden goal against Butler. It was on a corner kick that Gibson headed towards the goal and Ashford deposited.
Still battling in front of Nicopolidis, and a handball was seen by referee Carmen Serbio. And there's another one of those dangerous balls by Toshiro, and it was Keegan Boyd's right arm that got in the way.
Yeah, real easy call. Arm gets up.
Achara on a dead sprint. Achara turns the corner. Achara still with it. And Cruz comes off his line. Achara spent a lot of time on the Shawfield turf today, and he'll win the 8th corner of the match for the Hoyas.
But that burst from Achara is what keeps opposing coaches up at night. And that first touch, turning the corner, getting around Budati, and brave goalkeeping from Paul Cruz coming off the line.
And Achara will exit the match along with Polvera and Lay. And Rothrock re-enters, and for the first time today, we're going to see Foster McCune, reserve left back, the junior from nearby Maryland. Ball by Beer, headed away by Gibson. And then Polap plays it out of play. Georgetown seems, Tom, really close to that second goal right now, as this entire second half, outside of a couple-minute sequence, played in the Creighton end.
Yeah, the tempo that Georgetown's been playing with at the second half has been superior to the first half. The possession has been sharper. And as a unit, Creighton has not been on the same page as Ashford is really chasing by himself up top. And that top line, that Creighton defense has been pushed back as O'Hearn gives one away.
Lazy turnover from O'Hearn. Here is Hawkinson. Hawkinson, the danger man, looking for Ashford. Nicopolidis off his line. And Hawkinson would like to have that ball back.
Yeah, Hawkinson, we talked about, he scores important goals, and they are driving down the center of the Hoya defense. Very unselfish from the senior. I think that he probably wants to take a go there. Force Nicopolidis to come up with a save.
Now Espeleta cutting inside. Good combination play. Little Maradona spin, falls to Boyd, shot and a huge save, rebound, goal! It's Toshiro with the diving header. And for the first time since late September, the Georgetown Hoyas concede, and a thrilled Creighton Blue Jay team as the Blue Jays and Hoyas tied at 1.
And the freshman Ashford, great skill at the top end, a huge save by Nicopolidis. Nothing he could do on the rebound as Toshiro gets his team-leading 6th goal of the year, and a huge goal for Creighton as, of course, they have the chance of hosting a first-round game in the tournament.
And so the tide turns, and we talked in the first half about the quality of the reserves from Georgetown elevating the play, but it's the combination, the likes of Ashford and Boyd and Briggs, who've made all the difference for Creighton.
Yeah, and really great skill at the top of the box from the freshman Ashford. Scored that golden goal against Butler, and there, just brilliant skill. And a lot of credit to this Creighton side as we were talking about, they were pinned in for most of this half, but the quality is there. It's been there all game long.
So just the 6th goal conceded by Georgetown on the season. And the first time the Hoyas have been tied in the second half since the Maryland match. And here's the goal, and it's that Maradona turn. It's a huge save from Nicopolidis, but Toshiro.
A brilliant finish. That whole sequence was great soccer. Great combination. Toshiro actually played the ball in to Ashford, who had good skill. Then a great save by Nicopolidis, and then what a finish for Creighton.
And Tom, for the younger players, as a foul whistle, for the younger players, midfielders, watching at home, Tashira gets himself in the center of the penalty area, which we see some central midfielders holding back, and you get yourself there. Maybe the ball comes to you off a rebound, and you're there to take advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah, it's just an experienced player. We talked about kind of the educated service that he has, and he gets another chance here, but just good understanding how to play the game. And we saw him in the back line in the first half.
Dangerous ball. Nikopolidis off his line. He grabs it and falls hard and drops the ball. No foul whistled. Nikopolidis off his line. And the ball just wide off the foot of Hawkinson. Nikopolidis cannot believe, as Georgetown surrounds the referee, Nikopolidis rises above. He was undercut by his own player.
Yeah, it was O'Hearn who got underneath him. And Hawkinson there elects to try to go with the outside of the right foot, clipping it in.
Frankly, it's a great piece of officiating there to see that in traffic, that it was Georgetown own player bothering Nikopolidis.
And this Creighton side all of a sudden has some energy.
Good ball from Nealis, finds Riviere. He has Dotson. He'll play him. It's cut out by Mitchell. And Riviere frustrated with himself there, but a good job by the freshman Luke Mitchell.
Yeah, the quality of the last ball from Riviere lacking a little bit on there, but you've got to give credit to Luke Mitchell. All game long, we've been talking about how impressed we've been with him positionally. He just gets himself in good spots.
It's Riviere. He'll hit the in-swinger with his left foot. The sophomore from New Jersey. Looping ball to the back post. McCune heads. Now it's Rothrock with it. Ball falls to Riviere. Clips another ball in, and it's cleared to Polat. It's the shifty Espeleta. Creighton with a spring in their step. Here in the 64th minute. The 61st minute goal by Toshiro has tied this game up in Washington, D.C. Nealis finds Montez. Bothered enough by Hawkinson, and they will call the foul.
And that's one where Hawkinson doesn't get a piece of Montez, but the intent was there, and it caused the dribble to get away from Georgetown's junior midfielder. It's a little bit of game pressure right now for Georgetown, and I think this is good for them as they go into postseason play. Really haven't had a lot of adversity the last month and a half.
Wu plays a good ball to Dotson. He's isolated against Mitchell, who has a fistful of jersey. And then Georgetown winning their 9th corner of the match. And as we see in the out-of-town scoreboard, Butler clinging in the second half to a 2-1 lead over Xavier in a pivotal matchup in the conference. A win there would cement Butler's position in the field.
Yeah, and potentially puts them into a spot where they can host a match.
It's Riviere. Cruz left-handed paws it away. Now O'Hearn. And O'Hearn a poor touch, and the ball all the way to midfield where Sean Zawatsky is alone. Riviere has been active throughout this match when he's entered. Now he's on a sprint against Briggs. And a foul's going to be whistled. And on the far side of the field, it's Budati down, grasping his right leg. And now having a word with the official.
Yeah, I didn't see what caused that.
The Belgian right back's been impressive for me throughout this match, particularly attacking.
Absolutely. He has put some pressure on the Georgetown defense coming up that right side. He's from Belgium, but he was capped with the Moroccan national team. The U20 side for Morocco.
Well, one header by Daniel Wu, allowing the Hoyas to possess. Here's Foster McCune. And the high line from Creighton continues as they sense the Hoyas feeling, as you described it, Tom, that game pressure they haven't felt, frankly, much at all in this conference season.
Yeah, I mean, they've only conceded. That was only the second time they've conceded all-conference season. And as sharp as Georgetown was for the first 10 or 11 minutes, since Creighton's gotten that goal, Georgetown has struggled to find their form.
Paul Rothrock. Now Zawadzki. Nealis wants it, and he'll get it. Nealis cuts inside. The dangerous Dylan Nealis. Dispossessed by the combination of Briggs and the substitute.
Twin
His brother,
brother,
Dominic Briggs.
looks a lot like him.
Also from Economowalk. That's a lot of Briggs family on the left side of Shaw Field right now. Zawadzki out jumps Hawkinson. Ball falls to Riviere. Sloppy possession from the Hoyas. Now Nealis, a good ball, finds Montez. He has runners to both sides. He's going to cut to his right. Montez a drive just wide of Cruz. And again, Montez not hitting that great, but you see the quality there from the likely Big East midfielder of the year.
And it was a great first-time ball from Dylan Nealis that found Montez in a pocket of space. Montez has been dangerous here in the second half. You said the likely midfielder of the year. He would certainly get my vote for that. And the man that played it to him, Dylan Nealis, would get my vote as the defensive player of the year in the conference for the second consecutive year.
But as we know, Tom, you have no vote.
No vote, no say.
Here's Wu, who'll go back to Nicopolitas. Nicopolitas, who made an outstanding athletic save. He's known as a shot stopper, and you saw it on Creighton's goal, but nothing he could do about Toshiro depositing the rebound past him. And the proverbial line change coming for Brian Weiss. 4 substitutes as Sands, Achara, Beer, and Polvera, a very attacking-minded foursome enter, replacing Dotson, Montez, Fisher, and Rothrock.
Yeah, and for 3 of them, Polvera, Achara, and Beer, they were part of the group that was playing well at the start of the half. And Weiss brought the 3 of them to the bench, and Georgetown struggled to kind of get back on the front foot.
Zawadzki finds Nealis. Now Riviere in a pocket of space. Dispossessed, good beat of defending from Hawkinson. And now Toshiro. Overlap coming from Briggs. Briggs cutting inside. Now the overlap from Budati. Good defending there from Foster McCune. But you see the 60-yard counterattack really for the first time all day from Creighton. Beer looking for Achara. He's onside. Beer wants it back. He'll get it. End-to-end action here at Shaw Field, as both these highly regarded teams competing into the middle of the second half.
And Cruz will slow it down because you're right, that pace is not sustainable. But in the center of the park, Hawkinson and his counterpart, Polat, have done a really good job of covering defensive players and kind of winning the ball when Georgetown is going on those stretches of possession. And that last example allowed a good counterattack from Creighton.
Beer with it. Beer's been active in his minutes today. Now the Cary, North Carolina product, Daniel Wu. Will Sands' first touch of the second half is not a great one, but it'll be a throw-in for the Georgetown Hoyas. Shots read 15-6 right now in favor of Georgetown, as McCune doesn't find Nealis. And Tom, though, I don't think they'd acknowledge it right now. I think you're right that the Georgetown staff probably enjoying the test that their team is facing Big East pressure here in the second half. And another guy enjoying what he sees right now is Johnny Torres.
Yeah, Johnny Torres. He understands how to score goals, a brilliant collegiate player. And talking to him yesterday, you sensed that he had a confident vibe that his team would be able to do some things against Georgetown.
Looping ball finds Briggs. He gets to it, a shot and a save by Nicopolitis. Rebound, Toshiro into the chest of McCune. Bodies strewn all over Shaw Field, and the pace of the substitute, Dominic Briggs, on display.
And that was another great save by Nicopolitis. But before that, I think it was Budati. What a ball into the path of Briggs, and O'Hearn late to get there. And Nicopolitis comes up with a huge save for Georgetown.
Riviere, good ball to Achara. It's the other Briggs brother defending exceptionally well. Now Zawadzki. Beer finds Riviere, who narrowly testing Cruz and missing to the near post. But Tom, at this pace right now, hard to imagine one of these teams not finding a goal.
Yeah, and Riviere is the quickest release on the Georgetown team, and there doesn't need much time to get his shot off. And you're right, this is end-to-end action. And I certainly think with the depth that Georgetown has, Creighton having to travel, Creighton has had 2 consecutive overtime games coming into this. And we've talked about it's been a resilient bunch for Johnny Torres, but doesn't have the depth because of, the players they've lost to injury. And Coach Weiss at his disposal has 7 or 8 attacking players that he can call on at any time.
Well, Torres didn't call on Dominic Briggs once in the first half, and he's been exceptional in his 15 minutes thus far in the second. Here's Will Sands cutting inside. Now McCune and Beer. Nealis creeping forward. He wants it. Briggs shades over. Now Achara and Riviere. And then Briggs, a strong challenge on Nealis. Trostin finds Hawkinson. Now it's Angle King against Wu. He'll cut inside. Dispossessed there by Polvera. Polot with it. It's Budati as the Blue Jays look for the go-ahead goal. But the service not there that time from Yunus Budati.
Yeah, and Budati, who has been good all game long for Creighton, would like to get that one back as Coach Weiss calls on the junior striker Derek Dotson to come back into this match. Replaces the freshman Sands, who's had a really good freshman campaign. Struggled a little bit today to have an impact to this point.
Elsewhere in the conference right now, Butler continues to lead Xavier late in the match 2-1 as the Bulldogs looking to cement the 5th clinched berth. Poor ball from Nealis, allowing Briggs and the Blue Jays to attack. Trostin fighting for it, still with it. And Achara comes back nicely to win the ball. And a counter coming from Georgetown. But it's read well by Mitchell. Dotson putting Cruz under some pressure. And Tom, how much longer can Brian Weiss afford to leave Jacob Montez on the bench?
Yeah, he was dynamic at the start of this half. Was finding pockets of space, and as you say that, we see the number 7 junior midfielder set to check in.
And it's a goal kick, allowing Georgetown to make 2 substitutions here as Weiss and the Georgetown staff continue to tinker. It'll be Riviere and Beer exiting, and it'll be the experience of the junior Montez and the graduate student Ethan Lochner entering the match.
Entering the match for your Hoyas, number 7, Jacob Montes, replacing number 11, Jack Beer. Also in the match
Georgetown
for your Hoyas,
14-1-1 coming into this match. Creighton 8-6-1. Blue Jays a talented side with a confident coach, and you're seeing that on display, particularly in the last 30 minutes of this match.
Yeah, and it's a side, Creighton, that even when Georgetown is pressing them, they're still trying to play out of the back, trying to keep possession, and it was one of the things that was important for them is to make Georgetown defend and not just turn the ball over immediately after winning it.
Dotson can't combine with Montez, forcing the Hoyas backwards. It's been O'Hearn and Wu in the center of the park defensively have gone the distance today. The Hoyas without steady and influence Rio Hope Gund, who they expect to have back in the postseason. So the 77th minute, that man Achara currently on record as the goal scorer in this match. He thought it might be the game-winning goal, but Toshiro had other things to say about it, equalizing for the Blue Jays midway through this second half. As a match today befitting the occasion of the final day of the regular season on the Big East Digital Network presented by SoFi. Wu finds Zawadzki. Now Polvera. Achara, early ball, squirts to Polvera. It's going to end up with Montez. Montez on his right foot. He'll elect to go wide to Lochner. The grad student back to Nealis. Patient attack from the Hoyas. Zawadzki and Lochner. Now Dotson. Hoyas, though, unable to penetrate that back line of the Blue Jays. As O'Hearn rises above to win the header. It'll go out of play. Just over 11 minutes remaining in this game, knotted at 1.
And huge implications for Creighton. We've talked about the want to host that first-round matchup with a draw. They have the potential to. Too many different what-if scenarios for us to calculate right now. Certainly a victory would make them the 4 seed.
Montez would like to change that. He's at speed into the teeth of the defense. It's Montez. Montez! Saved by Cruz. We just saw one of the best runs of the season from Jacob Montez, and Cruz denied him the Sports Center moment.
A virtuoso performance and run from Montez. Probably the 3rd time this year we've seen one from about midfield. And just brilliant skill. And Cruz does enough to get down and save that really with his back leg. But the man we highlighted at the top serves this one in.
Headed away, falls to O'Hearn. O'Hearn's going to have a shot to the back post, tipped over by Cruz. That was hit very well by the educated right foot of Sean O'Hearn.
And you're seeing why the Big East coaches said coming into the year he is the best keeper in the conference. Cruz coming up with another big save for Creighton.
Number 7, Jacob Montes.
He did all 6'4", and the length he had there.
Driven ball, flashing header by McCune, ends up at the feet of O'Hearn. His left-footed service looking for Dotson. Still in play and cleared by Toshiro. Here's Zawadzki under some pressure. He'll go back to Nicopolitis. And Nicopolitis watching and no doubt admiring his opposite number, Cruz, who's been the busier of the 2 keepers this afternoon. A dribbling expedition by Zawadzki finds Achara. And goal kick whistled there as it did take a deflection. And we look at that last chance.
What a good touch. And what's so hard about that at this end, in this time frame at Georgetown, Cruz is looking directly into the setting sun. And that is a big-time save.
Still marveling at that 40-yard run from Montez. Stepping past 4 separate Creighton defenders. But Cruz has been outstanding positionally all year as we look at that sun directly in the eyes of Cruz. Georgetown combining again, looking for Dotson. He falls. The Georgetown bench looking for a foul, none forthcoming. And then McCune, a turnover.
They are letting them play big time.
Georgetown now, Tom, waves of pressure since the re-entry of Montez and Dotson.
Yeah, it's been Montez the key here, the engine in the second half.
And you spy Dylan Nealis, who wants the ball. Pulvera's going to try to supply it. He chests down. Nealis, dangerous ball, looking for Lochner. Headed over. And Dylan Nealis, you can see directing traffic. He wants the ball on this right side. He likes the matchup against Troston.
I think Nealis likes the matchup against most people, but you're right. Last regular season home game for the senior, and Nealis did well to kind of get through some traffic. Didn't rise up enough to head the ball down into the ground.
It's a good look at the senior captain. Not only a great player, but has emerged as a terrific leader on this side. Hawkinson steps out of heavy traffic and deposits one deep into the Creighton end. Now Nealis. Pulvera. Dangerous ball, easily cut out by Polat. You could hear Johnny Torres there on our microphones on the field saying, keep that, Koopa. Rare moment here for Creighton in the last 10 minutes to take a breath and get some possession. And the experienced Blue Jays do just that.
And you talked about the confidence of this Creighton side. You think about how they started the year. Johnny Torres in his first year, not afraid to schedule the best in the country at North Carolina and at Wake Forest. So this team has had a history this year of playing top 5 opponents and getting results. They tied UNC 2-2 in the first game of the year as Zawadzki took a hit there.
And you see the Georgetown players immediately signaling that that was Toshiro, who's already on a yellow. And the referee denying the appeal for the red card there, and a dangerous decision by Toshiro at that point in the field, playing on a yellow.
Yeah, he's getting a talking to. Toshiro says, absolutely understand. I am in your book.
And there you see Dominic Briggs.
Briggs had that sensational run where Nicopolitis came up with a huge save. As Georgetown has not conceded more than one goal in any contest this year.
And Briggs will exit, replaced by Espeleta, and that's Brian Weiss, frustrated that Creighton essentially using this as a timeout. He didn't like the water bottles being given by the trainer to several Creighton players. Meanwhile, Nealis, positive first touch around Briggs. Nealis screaming for a handball. They'll win a corner. Yeah, and Nealis can't believe it. The ball appeared to bounce up and hit the hand, the outstretched hand of Cameron Briggs.
Yeah, and Briggs has been good in the back line for Creighton, and here tough to tell.
Montez flicked on. It's O'Hearn at the back post, and O'Hearn wishes he had that one over again. Couldn't get over it. And another chance goes wanting for the Hoyas. Georgetown has been so often the case this year, already over 20 shots, but only one of those has beaten Paul Cruz. Tom Greaser, the overtime procedures in college soccer, 2 10-minute periods. It is sudden victory.
Yeah, and it's a Creighton side that has had 2 consecutive overtime contests, a lot of minutes on their legs.
Do you prefer golden goal, sudden death, or sudden victory?
Golden goal.
And then a Hoya sandwich there as Nealis and Zawadzki both down.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what Engelking was thinking there. It was just a two-arm shove into Zawadzki and Nealis at the same time.
2 Hoyas for the price of 1 there on that foul.
Maybe that's what he was thinking.
Referee Carmen Serbio. More to deal with here in the last few minutes. As we move into the 86th minute of this contest. A great matchup here at Shaw Field. It's Achara against Budati. He'll go back to Montez. Montez slips inside that time. Excellent defending by Espeleta. And now Toshiro with it. He was the goal scorer for Creighton. He's battling O'Hearn. And O'Hearn wins that duel and finds Ethan Lochner. Lochner on the dribble to Achara. Georgetown plays out of some of that tight pressure. They'll reset through O'Hearn and Wu. Tense action here on the hilltop. Polvera sees a run he likes from Achara. He'll keep it in play. A good left-footed service. Achara one-on-one to Dotson. Dotson still with it in the box. Clips across the face. It's headed by Briggs. Into the path of Troston.
Yeah, and that's a hard ball as Dotson and Achara on the left side. Really 2 of Georgetown's attacking players connecting, and there's no one making a run.
Montez with it. The ball glued to his feet. Now it's Nealis. First time ball. Dotson heads down! And Cruz saves. The referee took a look at the assistant referee to make sure the ball didn't cross the line, but great soccer there from Georgetown.
And Derek Dotson did well to rise up and head that one down. And Cruz, his feet appeared to be in the goal, but the ball that has to pass the line is Cruz, yep, keeps the ball out by a couple of inches there.
Cruz, not a wrong foot today. Lochner wins the throw-in. He'll leave it for Nealis. We're under 3 minutes remaining. Georgetown looking for the dramatic Big East regular season closing goal. Creighton, meanwhile, trying to secure its seed in a home match next week in Omaha. Or rather, this weekend in Omaha. Gibson wins a throw deep in his own end as he and Dotson battle. Derek Dotson doesn't give up 4 inches to many defenders in the conference, but Gibson's one of them.
And Gibson, it's been a real solid performance in the center of the back.
It's Achara from Lochner. Achara to his right foot. Achara to his left foot. Achara to Polvera, and it's cut out brilliantly.
That's Hawkinson again doing great work. We highlighted him at the top of the broadcast because of his ability to score game-winning goals, but working hard defensively.
McCune and nearly won an own goal as Gibson headed wide of his own net. Foster McCune putting some pressure on, and here we see Achara against Budati, right then left, and it's Hawkinson on a dead sprint. In Polvera, you could see him licking his lips as that ball came to him. Meanwhile, Montez with 80 seconds remaining to hit the outswinging corner. Near post ball falls to Achara. Cleared by Toshiro. Hoyas keep it in. Still 3 players on the back post as Lochner penetrates. Finds Achara trying to spin against Briggs. Cameron Briggs does well. No foul whistled as Briggs outduels Achara. Under a minute to play. Hoyas pressuring this Creighton defense. Nealis, a dangerous ball. Ends up at the feet of Polvera. And now Toshiro and the Blue Jays hoping to play out the string in this last 35 seconds, but Georgetown perhaps one last chance forward. It's Dotson and it's Lochner. Now it's Montez. Montez to his right foot. And Briggs wins the challenge.
And Briggs, since Johnny Torres has called his number, he's been up to the task defensively for Creighton.
Just 10 seconds remain.
10, 9, 8, 7.
Espeleta near midfield.
5, 4, 3.
No Hail Mary forthcoming.
1, 0.
And at the end of regulation, the Creighton Blue Jays score a second-half goal to equalize. We'll be going to overtime here at Shaw Field. We'll take a quick break and be right back with you.
Sudden victory. Goal overtime periods coming up shortly.
moments away from the start of the first overtime, tied up, and we got here through a goal in the first half by the Hoyas and a goal in the second half, Tom Greaser, from the Blue Jays. In the first half, it was O'Hearn header that ended in the back of the net, and we'll take a look at it again here.
O'Hearn does a great job getting to the back post, and Achara sniffing that one out. Tough to tell if he got a touch or not. And then in the second half, brilliant save by Nicopolidis, but the senior, by way of Tokyo to Omaha, Nebraska, deposits his 6th goal of the year with a brilliant diving header.
And I know one thing, that is not a direct flight. So stats, Tom, it does show the territorial advantage for the Hoyas, out shooting the Blue Jays 22-8 and out cornering them 15-1.
Yeah, you look at that corner statistic, and that is how Georgetown found their goal, a corner kick in the first half. And for the 3rd consecutive match, Creighton finds themselves in overtime, and only the 3rd time all year Georgetown finds themselves in an overtime match. Of course, their only loss was an overtime defeat to Louisville.
No place I'd rather be on a beautiful fall afternoon than with Tom Greaser on the Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi, in an exciting matchup between two teams who like to play the game.
Yeah, both teams like to keep possession, and for Coach Johnny Torres, knowing that Georgetown does so well at home with possession, it was important for his side to find pockets during the game where they've had possession, and since they've found the equalizer, there have been more time for Creighton on the ball.
Wu to McCune. His clearance finds Polot of the Blue Jays. And then Polot fouled by Zawadzki, who's frustrated with himself there. He knew he didn't need to commit that one. Polot restarts play, as that was definitely a foul, as the replay confirms. Angle King, now Toshiro. And Nicopolidis off his line. Good combination play there for Creighton.
Yeah, and since Johnny Torres has moved Toshiro into the kind of the center of the park, Creighton's quality has been more the senior around the ball more. Start of the game in a defensive position for Creighton.
Achara near the corner flag. He'll win a throw. And he'll let Foster McCune come forward to take it. No, they fake it a little bit. It's J.B. Fisher now. Fisher to the back post. Looking for Rothrock. Rothrock against Budati. Early service headed away by Gibson. And what's interesting, Tom, here is Torres made an adjustment to have Briggs track Achara. He's been playing on the left side the whole time, Briggs, and now on the right side. So Hoyas try to find Rothrock, who's off sides.
Yeah, see, I was thinking about that as well as I looked at Budati going out onto the left side, and you think it's for Achara. My thinking is it might be to deal with Nealis coming down the right side and having a matchup out there.
Or maybe it's both.
Regardless, the freshman Briggs has been impressive since coming into this matchup, and it also might be a little bit of inexperience from the freshman, and Coach Torres just wants him closer to the sideline to give instructions. As we've seen, this Georgetown attack is very fluid, interchangeable parts.
And it looks like we're going to have the helicopter delay. We haven't seen a lot of those this season. For those not familiar with the facility at Georgetown, the hospital located right near the field, and occasionally in a medical emergency, the hospital lands. We're going to have one of those, so we'll take a quick break here at overtime. Score continues 1-1. Picture-perfect landing of the helicopter behind Shaw Field, and giving both coaches a chance to reset their groups right now. We've played 2.5 minutes of the first overtime. Again, in college soccer, 2 10-minute periods maximum. If a goal is scored, the game ends.
And for Georgetown, look, they've won a share of the Big East regular season championship already. A tie or a victory, and they win it outright, regardless of what St. John's does in their final match. And for Creighton, hoping to figure out how to get a result and host that first round matchup in the Big East tournament, because they are so good at home at Morrison Stadium.
I'll tell you one thing, it's a lot more straightforward figuring that out if they lose or win this game than it is if they draw.
Yeah, there are a lot of options that are in play if Creighton picks up 1 point in this match.
We're going to get another stoppage at some point here shortly. When they
Some discussions amongst the two coaching staffs about the procedures here to restart play. And again, the intensity of this match higher than any match we've seen at Shaw Field this season.
Yeah, and credit to Creighton coming in, talked about their higher press earlier in the game, and they've found ways to start to break down this Georgetown defense and have done something that only Providence has done in conference play, and that is score a goal against this Hoya team.
If Georgetown does not concede in this overtime, they'll set a new Big East Conference record for the fewest goals conceded in a season. A mark currently shared by Xavier and Notre Dame programs.
Yeah, and it was a Notre Dame team where Coach Brian Weiss was an assistant of in 2004.
Head coach?
Bobby Clark.
Bobby Clark. The former Dartmouth coach, Notre Dame coach, Stanford coach, and New Zealand national team coach. And, of course, Bobby's son, Jamie, the head coach of the University of Washington, currently ranked #1 in the coaches poll.
Jamie was a great player in his own right.
Georgetown possessing deep in their end.
Yeah, but that's good pressure from Creighton, something that Johnny Torres wanted them to apply.
Dotson with it. Now Montez. Ton of traffic. Dotson trying to find a char. It's a tricky ball, and he'll win a corner. Little backspin on that ball to keep it in play. And, Tom, it is the 16th corner of this match here in the 95th minute.
Yeah, and both Wu and O'Hearn from the center back position will come forward. Of course, Wu almost scored on a corner kick with a glancing header, and O'Hearn an assist or a goal, depending who you ask.
Rothrock. Dangerous near post ball. Headed away right back to Rothrock. Poor chest. Now Rothrock with it. Clips a dangerous ball near post. Headed away. Fisher collects. And then goes back to Zawadzki to reset the Georgetown attack. Montez, good spin past Angle King. Now wide to Rothrock. Left-footed service is a good one. Mitchell able to clear, and now Polot for Creighton. Budati dances past O'Hearn. Eunice Budati now to the dangerous Espeleta. Wide to Angle King. Good work from the Blue Jays. Angle King against McCune.
And Dan, you're right. That's great work from Creighton. They dealt with 2 consecutive corners, cleared the ball, and then able to break out, keeping possession and earn their own corner kick. And it's their goal scorer who hits brilliant restarts to take this corner kick.
A big moment here for Creighton as they look to spring the upset at Shaw Field. Looping ball headed away by Wu. Rebound, Angle King over. And Tom, Nicopolitas having to deal with the same sunlight issue that you mentioned, Cruz dealing with it in the second half.
Yeah, just the setup of this field. One side has no difficulty at all, but late in the year when these matches go on, that setting sun is blinding for the keepers. And both goalkeepers, we should mention, have had brilliant saves, 2 or 3 each today, keeping their teams knotted at 1.
Combination play frees Dotson. Difficult angle for Rothrock and Toshiro. And the Blue Jays able to move up their right side, but Achara outruns Briggs. And with just over 3 minutes remaining in the first overtime period, the Hoyas attack down Creighton's left side. Ball squirts to Montez. He has space, 30 yards from goal. Montez by Toshiro. Montez fouled 22 yards from goal. And Jacob Montez, who's been a danger man from this spot, in fact, scored a goal from a very similar spot at St. John's, clearly fouled by Gibson.
Yeah, Gibson there with a professional foul at the top of the box. But it's Jacob Montez again with a dicing run in the center of the midfield. And this is a great angle and distance for Montez.
And it is nearly the identical spot on the field where Montez scored the opener against St. John's. Montez will step with his right foot. He'll shoot, and it's over. And he's going to really be unhappy with the quality there, as it was set up in a perfect position.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. Cruz has been so good that Montez thinks he has to hit it perfect. But what you really want in that example, you want to force the keeper into a save. You can get a rebound, put pressure on Creighton there.
But it's interesting. I think Cruz knew the scouting report, because Montez, when he scored, has gone back post there. He was positioned there, and so Montez forced a little less comfortable place to play to the near post. Wu, good layoff from Dotson. Hoyas near midfield with 90 seconds remaining in the first overtime. And Dotson fouled by Budati near midfield. And Budati's going to find his way into the referee's notebook.
And Georgetown just keeping possession 55 yards from goal. Budati gets stuck in on Dotson and deservedly finds himself into the referee's book.
Wu into a pocket of space, now Pulvera. Wu was looking for Riviere there, but Dotson elected to play it. And so with 1 minute remaining.
1 minute in the first Southern victory overtime period.
Angle King out-jumps Wu, but the ball falls to the feet of senior Dylan Nealis. Luke Mitchell, the freshman who's been outstanding in the middle of the defense for Creighton, able to disrupt that Georgetown attack. Montez at speed, combination with Achara. Achara shot from distance. And I think Montez wanted that one back at his feet. Achara electing to test Cruz from 25.
Yeah, and we've seen so often Montez get that ball back. A routine save for Cruz, who's made some big-time saves on the afternoon, but that one, training ground for him.
10, 9, 8, 7,
and Tom Greaser,
6,
that will do it for the first overtime. As a cagey tactical battle, I'd call it, in the first 10. Which team will attack at speed? Which team will find the golden goal? We'll find out next after a quick break on the Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi. About to start the second overtime. Creighton and Georgetown knotted at one in an end-to-end battle here as Johnny Torres' team has been equal to the task. They've absorbed, Tom Greaser, a ton of pressure in this afternoon, but when they've had chances, they've looked to go forward.
Yeah, and there's quality on this Creighton side, and we've seen that quality shine through in the second half. They're able to find the equalizer, the senior Toshiro with a diving header, but it's been that man, Jacob Montez, who has been brilliant most of this second half for Georgetown.
Polvera heads into the path of Achara. Selects to go with Achara, Montez, Dotson, and Riviere as the four most attacking players right now.
And for Johnny Torres, he brings back in that combination of Ashford and Boyd, who combined to set up the goal and were dangerous for Creighton in their limited minutes.
Daniel Wu, now Dylan Nealis. Sees a run from Riviere in a pocket of space. Then miscommunication with Dotson. Mitchell able to clear. Luke Mitchell, the freshman out of the Atlanta United system, who's been outstanding. Good ball from O'Hearn to Achara against Briggs. Achara steps in front of Briggs. Now founds Montez. Nealis wants it on the back post. Instead, it's Dotson, flicks it. Nealis shot, and it's deflected and over.
And Budati comes to the rescue and gets a big hug from Cruz as the senior Dylan Nealis finds himself at the back post. As Montez hits one in, and this ball gets flicked to the back post. Could have been a handball from Budati. And he makes up for it, blocking that shot from Nealis.
Dotson with it in the box. Now Riviere. Left-footed service to the back post, past everyone. And it did. Mitchell's arm got a little outstretched there. The referee electing not to determine this game with a handball in the penalty area. And Dylan Nealis was hoping on his final regular season game as a senior to send the sparse Georgetown crowd into delirium. Polat. Now McCune under some token pressure. He'll reset. Just 7.5 minutes remain. And the long strides of Polvera winning the ball, and now Polvera forward again. And not the right angle on that ball from Dante Polvera, as he showed his defensive range winning the ball, but the quality of the final ball not there. So Georgetown, with a tie or a win here today, will be the outright Big East regular season champions. With a loss, St. John's would have a chance to be co-champions later today, but Georgetown's already earned the #1 seed by virtue of their win on the road at St. John's a week ago. Polat has his path blocked by Zawadzki. And Budati, a simple service collected by Nicopolitas. McCune trying to spring Achara. Cruz way off his line. And a good bit of attack down the right side. It's Toshiro with space. Runners in the box looking for Ashford. Ball headed across the face, and a shot deflected. Still in the box for Ashford. Right-footed shot is wide. Discombobulation in front of the Georgetown goal.
And Georgetown so fortunate here as this ball's played into the back post, and Dylan Nealis heads the ball back across the box, and it was the freshman Briggs coming in And a great slide tackle from O'Hearn as Dylan Nealis almost ended the game on one end and then a poor clearance at the other.
So Watsky into the path of Dante Polvera and the Hoyas with just 5 remaining. Polat with possession in the Georgetown end. Good layoff here. It's the dangerous Ashford, and he and Toshiro miscommunicate there.
Yeah, but Johnny Torres loves the energy from the freshman Ashford, who's really had an impact on this match.
McCune a turnover. Just 4.5 remain. And based on results so far, Tom, with a tie, Creighton guaranteed the number 4 seed, which would mean a home matchup, and it would mean a win would put them back in D.C. for a replay of this match a week from today.
Yeah, and getting that home match is a huge goal for this Creighton side. Such a difficult place to play. They've had such success at home over the years, including this year. 7-2 at home. Only 1 victory away from Creighton this year.
Wu, good ball into the path of Nealis. But Dillon not able to do anything with that. And Budati and Mitchell calmly possessed for the Blue Jays. O'Hearn avoids an Ashford challenge, now finds Dotson on his right foot, a shot! And the knuckler is saved by Cruz for a Georgetown corner, their 17th of the match.
And Derek Dotson once again denied by that man Cruz, who has been everything we imagined he would be in this contest.
Corner kick to be taken by number 11, Jack Beard.
And Dotson, you can see looking at his shoelaces.
Yeah, wanting to hit that one to the far post. Hit it hard, hit it well, but right in the breadbasket for Cruz.
It's Beer with the corner. It's a near post ball, easily cut out. Some of the Georgetown folks thought they saw a handball. Hawkinson appears to be cramping, so the referee will stop the clock with 2:42 left.
And I'm not surprised that Hawkinson is cramping. He has covered all sorts of ground today in the center of the midfield. That ball did pop up. Would have been a tough call to make at this point in the game. And of course, Creighton, this is their 3rd consecutive overtime match, so heavy legs and being forced to travel across the country as well.
Speaking of heavy legs, Tom, the Hoyas pulling out Dylan Nealis, and it'll be Chris Lay and Aiden Rocha at the wide back positions. Quite a moment for Aiden Rocha, who's only appeared in 4 or 5 matches this year. Hawkinson.
And Marquette clinging to a 1-goal lead as Marquette trying to figure out how they can qualify for the Big East tournament.
Both these teams will participate in the postseason. If this result holds, Georgetown will be the 1 seed, Creighton the 4 seed. You'll be able to watch Creighton here on the Big East Digital Network this weekend. Chris Lay, the long throw, looking for Achara. He flicks. Ball falls to Montez. Now Lay. Left-footed service, and nearly an own goal as Budati. Chris Lay did so well there to serve it out of midair.
Yeah, and the pressure that puts on a defender facing your own goal. Budati, fortunate as that one came off his shin.
Near post ball. Ends up at the feet of Montez in traffic. And all the way back to Zawadzki. Just 2 minutes remain. Creighton trying to pull off perhaps their best result of the season, a tie at the consensus #1 computer team in the country, the Georgetown Hoyas. Creighton going down a goal in the first half. And Tom, the Hoyas, if this result holds, will celebrate the outright Big East title, but I think it'll be a subdued celebration.
And you talked about Creighton getting that equalizer in the second half. They also took on some pressure in the first 10 minutes of the second half. Really the best stretch that Georgetown had when Beer was combining with Dotson and Achara and Montez in that attacking third.
If the result holds, we will be joined by Georgetown head coach Brian Weiss. So stay tuned for that interview. Here's Rocha conceding possession with just a minute remaining. Jack Beer serves the ball in the box looking for Polvera. He flicks. Mitchell rises above. Now Zawadzki. A little tennis volley game. Zawadzki a drive! Just wide! And Sean Zawadzki hit it out of midair. Cruz on a full extension. Didn't touch it, and Zawadzki looks to the heavens as he thought he might have ended this match.
And what an opportunity from Zawadzki. This ball is just ping-pong back and forth. That ball did not miss by much.
Poor goal kick from Cruz. Beer rises above. Now Montez. Achara finds it with 10 seconds remaining.
10, 9,
Lay clips the ball forward.
7, 6, 5, 4,
Beer to Rocha,
3,
and that'll do it.
1.
And the Creighton Blue Jays look the happier of the two teams in this draw today. Georgetown clinches the outright Big East regular season title. Creighton clinches the 4th seed. And Tom Greaser, we may do this again a week from now on the Big East Digital Network, as if Creighton wins this weekend, they'll be back here in Washington, D.C.
And you see the Hoyas, their first regular season title since 2015. Both teams feel good about the result, and both teams feel that they've left something on the field.
1-1. Stay with us for the interview with Coach Brian Weiss. back at Shaw Field after an exciting 1-1 draw between the Hoyas and the Blue Jays. Dan Helfrich joined by Coach Brian Weiss. Brian, let's talk the match first before we talk the season. A true Big East battle this afternoon.
Yeah, and you know, the game, it's kind of a hard one to sort of get your head around, right? Because, you know, you got the goal. You felt like second goal would probably put it to bed. Credit to Creighton for finding their goal to equalize it. But we left a lot to you know, on the table, and we had some really good opportunities. It was just, I think, just the quality in the final third was just missing today, which we haven't seen for a little while. So, but in a lot of ways, it's good to go through some adversity and try to battle through in overtime, and you know, try to figure out the result.
The first time in the conference season, finding yourself tied late in a match, a different kind of pressure, perhaps, particularly for some of the younger players to deal with, and something they may see in the postseason.
Yeah, and you can see how the game shifts too, right? Guys get tired, the spaces open up, picking up second balls, the details that are needed to win a game late, to win a game in overtime. You know, it's a really interesting season for us because, as I was telling you before, we're not used to losing games. We just haven't lost that much this year, but we haven't been losing in games either. And so going into a postseason, you know, we need some of these moments to figure out, and you're sort of trying to figure out who the pieces are, who may be able to get you the result when it's on the line.
So after a somewhat disappointing draw, you take a step back and you just were given a Big East regular season championship. Talk about that, put that in perspective, and particularly for the seniors who've meant so much to the program.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's great. You know, I think, especially with the league being as strong as it's been this year, I think to win the league is a wonderful accomplishment for the guys. And this senior class has had a lot of success under it. I think we've won 2 Big East tournaments coming into this year. They're going to try to three-peat in the next 2 games. And I think the culture of the group this year has been exceptional, and that always rests on the seniors. And so I give them full credit for putting together a fun group of guys that love playing together and compete hard, and have navigated a really tricky season. To finish on top is fantastic.
So congratulations to the Hoyas for winning the #1 seed and the regular season championship. Congratulations to the Blue Jays for earning a draw in a difficult place to play and earning the 4 seed. We could see these two teams back playing against each other a week from today, but for now, that'll do it from Shaw Field. Georgetown won, Creighton won.